For the past couple of weeks, Nick and I have come to you with conversations about stress, conversations about peace, conversations about unnecessary things in our life that we need to eliminate so we're not always like running on that hamster wheel. Today I want to talk about lies that we have believed as Christians that honestly are not working. Lies about what brings us joy, lies about what brings us happiness. And I want to disprove those lies by presenting what the Bible says about what will generate happiness and joy in your life. Now, this might be a conversation you've had before and you think, oh, okay, well, I know, follow Jesus. I know what will make me happy, XYZ. But what my mom said today in one of our conversations with the kids is she said, it's not just about hearing the word, it's about doing the word. And so what I'm asking you to do is not just to hear or read what I'm about to say, but I really want you to think, am I really falling for the trap that the enemy is setting for me? Am I really believing the lies that happiness can come from anything else but God? Because God is the source of joy and happiness, and no matter what else we chase, we will be left empty. Guys, I know firsthand what it feels like, and so do you, to be empty, to have that moment of just breakdown, and you're at the end of your rope, you're burning the candle at both ends, and you're like, I have nothing left. I have nothing left. We've all been there. But make sure that you are not trying to do this life on your own with your own source of energy, not plugging in your source and your, outlet into what the world is telling you is going to bring you energy, joy, strength, stamina. Because the only thing that will ever sustain you is God. Getting super, Christian-y on you, super Jesus-y, guys, but once you have felt that kind of unexplainable peace in your life, then you will understand it. So just give this a try. So first, what are some things that we think could make us happy? What does the world tell us will make us happy? I will tell you from personal experience, because I am me, that I have in the past believed that temporary instant fixes, that will make me happy. It's like an instant gratification, an instant I'll fix this, or temporary bursts of energy or adrenaline. I'm like, this is it. But it just, as quickly as it comes, it goes. Another thing that I used to chase for happiness is money. I needed that steadiness. I needed that stability. I needed not even just to have a lot, but also to hoard it, because I was afraid of letting it go. And so I wasn't giving as much as I needed to, or I was thinking there's never enough money that I could attain. And that is how I would be happy. And it goes right along with the third thing that I used to think was going to make me happy, which is status. A lot of people think popularity or likes or affirmations or validations from other people will give them the pleasure of feeling joy. But again, as quickly as that comes, it goes. And it takes a lot of energy and effort on your part for something that is so temporary and not eternal. Fourth, experiences, traveling. I just wanted to travel. I wanted to go and I wanted to experience all these things. And that's fun. And memories are fantastic. But it will only matter on this earth. What will matter in eternity is pleasing the Lord. 5. This is going to be kind of a twist. What I used to think would make me happy is isolation. I'm a natural introvert. And as a natural introvert, I do love people. And I'm an outgoing introvert. But I needed to isolate myself to protect myself. It took a lot of energy to maintain short conversations or surface level conversations with new people, or I feel like I have to be on sometimes if I'm not quite sure about the relationship. So it was safer and more comfortable for me to isolate myself than to open myself up to new relationships and even being a part of a community. So those are the lies. I'm going to disprove those to you right now from what the Bible teaches us about joy and happiness. Alright, so if that's what the world is telling us to seek, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that, guys, at the end of the day, we hear all the time, money, status, prestige, traveling, that's not going to bring you joy, that's going to make you happy. For a second it will. It sure will. Talk about the endorphins coming into your mind, and this is awesome, but it's just like a hit, just like an addiction. You're going to continue to go to that social media post. You're going to continue to go to that site. You're going to continue to go to that person who gives you that hit of endorphins, that hit of dopamine in your brain that says, this feels good, and I am joyful, and I am happy. But if it runs out, was it from God? This is what the Bible says. This is what the Bible says about being happy. It says from Psalms 34:5, those who look for him for help will be radiant for joy. No shadow of shame will darken their face. Psalm 16:11, you will show me the way of life, granting me the joy of your presence and the pleasures of living for you forever. The author here was saying, like, God, you are the one who's going to show me the way of life, and because of that, you're going to grant me joy. You're going to give me the sustainable joy and happiness and all these feelings of pleasure in the presence of you forever. All right, so it's interesting here because the verses that I was studying in preparation for this video and blog was, wait a minute, so God is saying in obedience, like a lot of Psalms David was writing, like, I find such joy obeying your laws. I find such joy understanding your commandments. And I was like, I don't know who finds joy in rules. I mean, I know some people do. My son sometimes finds joy in like the structured boundaries and rules. Other times he's like, bump that, I don't care about any rules. Depends on your personality. But if obedience pleases God, and pleasing God brings us joy, then does that mean that obedience brings us happiness? But doesn't that feel so opposite of the world tells you? The world is telling you, be free, do you, whatever floats your boat, everything is relevant, and be true to yourself, and you know your truth, and it's all fluid based on the mood of the season, based on the newest trend or the hottest leader at that moment. But what God is saying is, I am steady, I am right here, and if you obey me, that joy that you're seeking, the happiness that you're seeking will never fade away. Guys, the next verse I want to read to you is from John 15:10-11. This is awesome, talking about, ironically, how obedience brings joy. Hard, but worth it, especially if you're addicted to like the dopamine, the endorphins, the kickback, the happiness, the joy. You're like, I want peace in a stress-free life. It's impossible, but I want to eliminate unnecessary stress from my life. The Bible's telling us right here that when we surrender and when we submit, it pleases God. And when we please God, we have this unexplainable peace in our life. My kids are fighting. Speaking of peace, there ain't no peace outside this door right here. When you obey my commandments, you remain in my love, just as I obey my Father's commandments and remain in his love. I have told you these things so that you will be filled with joy. Yes, your joy will overflow. It says here, when you obey my commandments, you will remain in my love, just as I have remained in my Father's commandments and remain in his love. I have told you these things that you will be filled with joy. You will overflow with joy. John 15:10-11. FYI, if you're like me and like you have the mom ears on, my mom, their Nana is out there handling the chaos, so I'm not just like letting them fight. Although, there's not much shame that I am hiding in their bedroom. I am actually on their bed. You see their messy closet. I'm in a nice shirt, but I'm in like sweatpants. I just, keep it comfortable, keep it real. Talking about the flip side of happiness, talk about disproving the lie the world tells you that happiness is all about self. It's about you, what you can attain, how hard you can work, what you can do to validate yourself, what you can do to have others validate you and affirm who you are. And, I am Jane, hear me roar, and I am powerful, and I can do this on my own, and nobody's going to push me down. That is what the world is telling you will bring you that strength and happiness and joy. But what God is telling us, believers, talking to Christians here, because if you're not a Christian, it's one ear out the other, you don't get it, because you don't know that Jesus is real. But if you're a believer, you know Jesus is real, and you have the Spirit living inside of you, and you can understand personally, from a personal experience, that the Bible teaches us that joy is found when you focus outward, not inward. When you focus outward and say, God, I will obey you, I will surrender, I will pursue you in what you're teaching me. Imperfect, yes, but I will pursue you, and in that pursuit of obedience and understanding and surrender, God, there will be unexplainable peace that comes into my life. And the happiness that I'm chasing, the weight I want to take off my shoulders is attainable because God already has a plan for your life and He already has a way for you to walk. So y'all just let it go. That's what I said last week. Let it go. In the words of Elsa, happiness does not come from yourself. It is not an internal goal or ambition. God says your happiness will come from pleasing me, and you will please me when you obey me. So is God asking you to do something right now in your life that you're pushing back because you think it's going to rock the boat? You think that obeying God is going to be too hard, too strenuous, you're going to have to sacrifice too much, and it will just steal your joy. You're like, but I like to do a lot of fun things that God doesn't want me to do. Well, evaluate and say, are you believing the lie that you can chase after temporary highs and temporary satisfactions, or are you going to understand that the eternal joy that you can have is much better and it is much more rewarding? It's up to you. All right? So, thanks for showing up. Hopefully that was helpful. Bye, guys.